Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is part 2 of the series on how to write the Shema on your homemade Torah scroll for Simchat Torah. Again, my name is Wayne. In a previous video, I showed you how to write the first part of the Shema, which is Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. In this part, we're going to write out the first part of the Veahavta, which happened to be the answer that Yeshua gave in Mark, verse 28 through 34. What is the greatest commandment? And Yeshua responded by reciting the Shema, and then reciting Leviticus 19:18, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So this is the beginning part of the Veahavta that we say every Shabbat in liturgical practice. Veahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol levavcha, bechol nafshevcha, bechol meodecha. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your intensity, with all your resources, with all your mind, heart, and strength. The first word is veahavta. Okay? So veahavta starts with a vav, that v sound. This is the case where a vav, I think I mentioned in the earlier video that a vav can take a vowel sound and it could also be a consonant. And when it is a consonant, okay, it is pronounced as a v, okay, as a vowel sound, okay. In this case, whenever it is prefixed to a word, it means and, okay. The word that it is affixed to is love, okay? And we spell that aleph, he, bet. That is the root for that word. And as an aleph, as I showed you, you start up here, you swoop down, kind of that inverted lawn chair. You come up where the back of that lawn chair would be. You come out and then draw kind of a little toe. And then from here, you kind of go inwards toward the knee part of that lawn chair. Okay? The next word is a hey that we practiced in the last video as part of the Tetragrammaton, as the name for Hashem. And it's kind of like an incomplete doorway, where the second part of the door jamb starts about 3/4, 2/3 way down, and there's a space up here. Okay? So we have now we have the bait. Now, incidentally, a bait is formed kind of like if you take a backwards lowercase r and bend it forward evermore like it's tired and it's just falling asleep. But it's okay, it's not going to fall over because it's got this base at the bottom. Okay? So this is your bait, and incidentally, okay, a bait can be pronounced two ways. If it has a ball in the middle, a dot in the middle, it's pronounced as a B sound, as in the word bed. If it does not, then it is pronounced as a V sound, as in vacation. Okay? So then the last letter is a t sound. There are two ways to draw a t sound in Hebrew, okay? For this part of the Veahavta, we only need to learn one of those. And think of the way that you drew this hey. Let's just draw the top part and the side part of the door jamb, okay? Just like we started out drawing a hay. But this time the door jamb kind of starts in a little bit and curves outward and curves in. Okay? So it starts here and it curves outward and then curves in, kind of like half of an oval shape. Okay? And then it has a toe right here. All right? So ve'ahavta. Your vowel markings, You've got this. So for those that watched my first video, what does that make? It's dashes, so it forms an ah sound, okay? For the sake of simplicity. You've got this that I call the Hebrew apostrophe. That basically stops the syllable, okay? You have your dash here. So these are ah sounds, aren't they? Okay? Veahavta. Okay, not to go into too much detail for those of you that are interested in Hebrew grammar. Let's say I get rid of the vav. This actually means literally, and you loved. And you, masculine, you loved. You loved. But there's a funny thing in Hebrew, it's called, I call it the tense flipper vav. For those of you that, this is too detailed for, don't fill up brain space. This is only for the people who are interested. The tense flipper vav, now it still means and, but it changes the tense from and you loved to and you will love. Okay? So this is a tense flipper vav. It forms two functions. It still means and, but in this case, it flips the tense and you will love. Okay? The you speaking to a masculine singular person. However, in this case, and it's very important, this is why I brought all this up, is that the masculine you and you will love is not meant for you as an individual. It's meant for the collective of Israel. In biblical Hebrew, Israel is a masculine noun. In modern Hebrew, countries, including Israel, are feminine nouns in modern Hebrew, but in biblical Hebrew, Israel as a nation, as a collective, is a masculine noun. It's a singular word, like the word family. Okay? You ask a question, how is, singular, your family? Singular. You don't say how are, plural, your family. Okay? So it is a singular word. Okay? And it is the nation of Israel as a whole. So when this says, and you will love, this is directed at the nation of Israel. And you, Israel, as a collective people, will love. Okay? The next word, you see it everywhere in Torah. And it is 8. And it is an aleph. Okay? And the same T sound here. Half of my door jamb, and then a half of an oval curve coming out with a toe. Okay? And guess what? I have dots, so that is an E or an A. It's an E. Okay? Now, 8 in Hebrew. Okay. 8 points to the direct object of the sentence. For those of you that don't care what a direct object is, think of it this way. The direct object in the sentence is the victim of the sentence, even if the word victim is in a playful way. I kiss my wife. My wife is a victim, in a playful way, of my kissing. The direct object in that sentence is my wife. I hit the ball. Okay? The ball is the victim of my hitting, like in baseball. I drink the water. The water is the direct object. It is the victim of my drinking. And again, even if that word victim is in a playful sense, okay? The victim of the sentence is the direct object. And whenever you see et in Hebrew, you can't really translate it into English, But you know, the next word is going to be the direct object or the victim of the sentence. I'll show you what I mean. The next word is the tetragrammaton that I showed you in the last video. You've got the yud, which is kind of like a comma. Same letter as this, hey. You got the vav, same letter, vav, hey. So, Adonai, the Lord, Hashem, is the victim, in a positive way, of Israel's loving. I hope that makes sense. And you shall love the Lord. Israel, you will love the Lord. The Lord is the victim of Israel's love, I hope that makes sense. So you shall love the Lord. Now, just like in our previous verse, we spelled Eloheinu, Elohecha, where that is the new, is our God. That cha means your God, your, okay, in your masculine. In this case, of course, referring to Israel being a masculine noun that I spoke of a few minutes ago. So, Elohe, it starts out like Eloheinu, okay? It's got your aleph. It's got your lamed, your L sound. You got your half of a teacup here with your little line up here, okay? Elohe. I'm going to try to get out of the way here a little bit more. I think I'm in the view of the camera. You got your yud, and you've got your final sound, your final kaf sound, and that is just a straight line, okay, just like the top of your lamed or the top of your door jams and your hays, okay, or your T sounds, and it is a long line below the bottom part, okay? Remember, I talked in the previous video that Hebrew, you'll notice that it's pretty straight in the top and at the bottom, okay? This, however, tails below, okay? And this is your final kaf. I think it's like 4 letters in the Hebrew alphabet have final forms, and this is one of those 4 final forms. The other ones are nun and mem and the ts sound, the ts sound, okay, like in Zion, okay? So as far as our vowel markings go, just like in Eloheinu, I see dots, so that's an e, okay? Lo, just like in our previous one, okay, that o sound, okay, the light bulb, remember the light bulb? Okay? Elo, oh, I see dots, that's an S sound again. Elohe. Now, this is weird. It's this same vowel marking, but it seems to have taken an elevator kind of into the middle of that letter. That is a characteristic of this final form. Don't worry about it. It's pronounced the same way, okay? It's kind of hidden in this sound, and it makes this letter mean cha, okay? And you hear that a lot in the Veahavta. Nafshevcha, betecha, okay? Your soul, your house. And in this case, it means your God, the Lord. Okay? So, Veahavta et Adonai Elohecha. Now, this, incidentally, I talked about the final form of this letter, makes a sound, popcorn in the back of your throat. This is actually the same letter. This is the final form. Take Eric's class if you're fuzzy on these letters. He's a wonderful teacher at introducing the letters and the vowel markings. Okay? But this is the sound, one of the 2 sounds, okay, in Hebrew. Now, a lamed here, now that's pronounced chol, and it means all, or every, or each, okay? It's very strange because it has a characteristic where it almost would seem it would be like it would be pronounced chal, but because of some very detailed Hebrew grammatical rules, it's pronounced chol in all cases, okay? 99% of the time that you see this, it will be pronounced ah, okay? And very few circumstances, in a very limited sense, is it pronounced as an o sound. So don't take up brain space trying to remember that. Okay, now this means chol, okay? It means all, every. If I add a b, that is kind of your overall Hebrew preposition, and it means in, with, within, okay? A lot of other meanings too, okay? Among in some contexts. Has a dot in the middle, so it's pronounced a b, not a v, okay? It's got your Hebrew apostrophe under it, so it kind of runs into that bechol, and that means in all or with all, okay? Now, your next word, lev, is heart in Hebrew, okay? And you'll see in biblical Hebrew heart spelled two ways and pronounced two ways. You'll see lev, and you'll see levev or levav, okay? And it's pronounced same letter as here. Oops. Sorry about that. Same letter as here, lamed. Got half of a teacup here. And you got two baits. Now, this is the case where it does not have a dot in the middle of it. Remember that kind of backwards R that's just so tired it wants to lean over, but it can't fall asleep because it's got a base holding it up. In this case, whereas it's pronounced b here because it has a dot in the middle, this does not have a dot in the middle, so it's pronounced as v, as in vacation, okay? As vanilla. I've never been a chocolate person. I enjoy it, but I've always been a vanilla person. If I go order a milkshake, it's always a vanilla milkshake. Had to throw that in there. Okay, so we've got your apostrophe here. This stops the syllable. So this is pronounced levav, okay? With all, levav, heart, with all heart. You add this cha, this final form of the ch letter, just like here, Elohim, you drop that mem and you add Elohecha, it becomes your God. Eloheinu, it becomes our God. Same thing here. We add that cha sound after levav, and it becomes levavcha, with all your heart. Your heart meaning Israel, your collective heart. Israel as a nation, as a collective, as a people, united under Hashem. So levavcha, now it's the same word here, okay? If I have, it's kind of like a weird backwards lowercase c. Okay, again, same word, and it means the same thing.